Happy Thursday. I hope you all are enjoying your day. If you are new here, I am Chazles Renee and welcome to my channel and thank you for being here. If you are a returning subscriber, hi my loves, thank you for being here to another one of my videos. So if you haven't noticed already, we have Chazles here dressed as Snow White, and that is because this is going to be a step-by-step touch of magic tutorial on how to make her princess gown. So if you want to learn how to make this dress, then keep on watching. And if you like what you see, then definitely like and subscribe because there is going to be a lot more tutorials like this in the future. And I just want to start off by saying I'm sorry if my voice sounds hoarse. I am getting sick again. Our whole house is sick. And that's what happens when your littles go to school and it's flu season. But I apologize if I sound hoarse and if I'm going to be clearing my throat. I just wanted to make sure I put this video out for you guys because I promised it to you yesterday. So even though I'm sick, I'm going to do my very best to make sure I do a step-by-step instruction on how to make this beautiful gown. So first things first, we're going to go into wardrobe. And you want to hit customize. And you're going to go to add new. And then you want to select the dress that is your basic long sleeved gown, because that is going to be the base of the dress. Once you have that selected, you're going to hit create. And then we want to pick the default color of the main dress, and Snow White's default color of her dress is going to be yellow. And we're going to be picking the fairest yellow that we have. But before we get into that, you want to make sure that your avatar is going to be a skin tone that is going to match whatever color we need to make the illusion appear that she has part of her chest going inward. And I will explain that when we get to making that portion of it, but first let's pick the base color of the dress. And again, I'm just going to be using the lightest yellow. And you don't have to, you can use whatever yellow you think fits her dress as best as it is shown in the movie. But for me, I just think it's this light yellow, so that's the one that I'm going to use. Once you have the default color of the dress picked out, we are then going to move on to the effect. Like I said, like her part of her dress is just going down to her chest area, and in order to do that, we are going to be selecting this one. So it's going to be the horizontal looking thin line. I'm going to be using that beige color or whatever color you chose for your avatar's skin tone, and again you're just going to bring that all the way up to her collarbone. And then again, just maximize or minimize to make it fit. And then you just kind of want to get different angles to see how it lays. I'm probably going to move in the shadow just because I'm doing this in the morning and the sun is fully out and it's kind of not letting me see those lighter colors. So I'm going to move here. That's better. So again, just play with it until it matches up pretty evenly on both sides. And that looks pretty good to me. And then we're not going to worry about the back because she has her white collar that protrudes out on the back upper part of her neck, so we don't need to worry about putting it on the back because that's just going to be covered with part of her collar looking cape that she has on the back. But once it looks something like this, we're then going to move on to the sleeves portion. And it's going to be the same thing like the upper part of her chest. We want to give the illusion that she has short sleeves. So that means her long sleeve area on her arms is going to have to be that same skin tone matching fabric that we just laid on the upper part of her chest. So instead of using the horizontal line like we did, now we are going to be using that square. So you want to grab that square fabric layer, and the default color is probably going to just be there automatically because it memorizes whatever color you used last time. So that's going to save us time. But once you have that square picked out, you're just going to drag it all the way until it lines up with her arm. And you want to make sure that you're not going high enough to where, notice how the wrist, the yellow on the wrist is starting to show. You want to make sure that's covered. So don't worry about it being high. We're going to cover her upper part of her shoulder anyways. So just make sure that the middle and that wrist part is going to be fully covered. And then you can also rotate it if it's not completely lined up. And for me, that button is going to be ZR. I don't know if it's the same on PlayStation remotes, keyboard and mouse. It's going to be something different for you guys, but it's just going to be that rotating button. And I'm just trying to, if you notice on the inside, you can still see some of that yellow from her dress, so I'm just making sure I'm covering that. Alright, that looks pretty good. So once it looks like it's completely covered on that first arm and it looks something like this, there's no yellow showing, you're then going to keep this fabric highlighted, but you're going to click on the box button, and then you're going to click on this function that has two circles and a line down the middle on both sides. And what this is going to do is it's going to copy that piece of fabric over to the other arm. So this saves you time. You won't have to keep trying to line it up so it matches on both sides. It's just going to do it for us. So you're going to click on that, and it's now going to be applied to the other arm, which is a really cool function that saves us a lot of time on having to make sure both sides are lined up. But once it looks like this and it looks pretty good and it's all lined up, we are then going to add another layer on the upper part of her shoulder just to cover this yellow base. And again, you're going to take that same square and you're just going to bring it as far up as you can. Without it protruding off the sides of the dress. And you want to make sure that it's covered underneath her forearm as well, which if you can see right here, it's not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep maximizing it and just rotating until it's fully covered. And this is something that I can't show you how to do step by step. This is just kind of up to your own perspective. You just kind of got to watch to see where everything lays, see what's getting covered. And like I said, you're just going to keep minimizing and maximizing and rotating that piece of fabric around until it's completely covering all of that yellow. And you'll just get better with time on stuff like that. Like I said, it's not something that I can show you how to do. You just gotta play with it and you just gotta make sure it's all covered up. And again, I'm just making sure there's a little bit of yellow showing underneath her forearm, so I'm just trying to see if I can get that all covered up. So once it looks pretty even and perfectly covered, lined up, again, you're going to hit that box button and we're going to hit this little duplicate button again. And that is going to transfer it onto the other arm. So once we got her chest piece done and we got her sleeves done, now we're going to move on to the corset portion of her dress. And this is just that blue piece on the upper part of her dress. And I always say it's royal blue. That's what it looks like to me. But this is where it gets a little difficult because she has the illusion that she has a thin yellow seam going right down the middle of her chest. So we're going to have to create that effect as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to be taking another one of the square shapes. But instead of keeping it on this default color, we're going to change it to royal blue. And royal blue can be different colors to everybody. It's not a set color. It's just whatever you feel like her upper part of her blue dress looks like. For me, I typically do this one, so that's the one that I'm going to be using, but again, it's whatever blue you decide you want to use. The only thing that you have to keep in mind is her sleeves are going to be a little lighter than the top part of her dress. So keep that in mind when you're selecting a blue, because if you're selecting this one, you're going to have to use this one as the lighter part of her sleeves. Same with this one. If you're using this one, you're going to have to use this lighter blue for the top of her sleeves, so on. So for me, I'm going to be, like I said, choosing this one, and then this one's going to be the light part of her sleeves. So once you have your blue picked out, you're going to stretch it out on one side, but you don't want to close it off in the center, and I will show you why in a second. But it's going to look like this on one side. But we don't want her waistband showing either. So you're going to want to stretch it out so that that waistband isn't showing. See where that little like pointed triangle shape at the bottom is? You want to cover that up. We don't want to see that visible waistline. So I'm just going to keep stretching it out until it's covered. So it's going to look like this. Once you have it covered, just keep moving it all the way to the back as far as you can get it. So it's going to look like that for me. Once you have this done, again, we are going to go to that white box and you're going to transfer it over to the other side. Now, once you have this done, you're going to keep moving it and stretching it out. So that it's going to look like this. And you're going to start to see that yellow line down the center. Once it's as thin as you can get it, I want to say probably like right there, you're then going to move this all the way down just to cover that waist part. And if it starts protruding out again, we're just going to minimize it until it gets small again, without it fully connecting. So like right there. So this is what it's going to look like on both sides. If you can get it thinner, that's awesome. But if you can't, right here is going to be fine. You just want to have that little effect of the yellow showing. Once you have that done, we have to put it on top. So again, you're just going to do the same thing. You're going to take that square, move it all the way up to her top part of her chest, and you just want to make sure that it's still going to be showing that yellow, so you don't want to cover it up. So once you get it pretty lined up with that left lower part, again, you're just going to press Y and you're going to copy that onto the other side. And that part should be a little easier because it's already recognized what we're trying to do. So we're not going to have to move it around. But it's going to look like this. So it's going to again make that illusion that she has a little bit of yellow showing going down the center of her chest and belly area. So once we have that done, we have to apply it to the back as well. Let's try that horizontal piece. I don't know, I feel like this is going to be a little bit better. Maybe not. And here I'm just trying to make sure it's pretty even on both sides and there's not going to be any tail showing in the back. And that's just what I'm doing. I feel like it does work better with the horizontal fabric. So I'm going to copy that onto the other side. And it looks pretty even. And then now I'm going to see if I can use the square. If not, we'll keep using that line, but we want to try to use the less amount as layers as we can because we're very limited on them. So I'm just trying to see if I can get it to line up without having to do that. Yeah, so it looks like square is not going to be the best for this, which is fine. We can keep using. So we're just going to grab another one of those horizontal looking line shapes. And just again, we want to make sure we're lining it up as much as we can to create that back piece. Copy it to the other side. So it's going to look like that. We obviously need to cover that tail. have to be a little downward. So we're gonna have to move these pieces down just so it matches up. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to move these down some. Had to move these just so that they're lined up with the fabric that I laid. You're gonna have to keep messing with them until they're lined up. And like I said, for some reason the square, when you're trying to put it on the back, it's not coming out square. It's gonna be like a weird angle. So just make sure you keep trying to line them up so they fit by each other. And then I'm going to go back to that right upper part side. Which is this one. And I'm trying to look for... Alright, so this part here, we're going to, again, just keep stretching it out so that it's perfectly lined up with the other side. And like I said, this is probably the most difficult part, is just her corset part because of that seam going down the middle. Okay, so that's going to be as best as we can get it to line up. So let's go back to the waist area and hit that duplicate box, and hopefully it's going to post it onto the other side. So we have her whole waist part done. And then again, we need to cover that back piece. So with this part, you should be able to use the actual square now. It's just that waist part that's really tricky. And don't worry about that little triangle yellow part of her dress showing, we're actually going to cover that so you won't be able to notice it. Then I use a clasp. You don't have to use a clasp. You can just use another piece of that blue fabric to cover it. But like I said, we're very limited on layers, so I want to make sure I'm not using as many layers as I don't need to be. So once it looks a little like that, actually I think we can line it up a little bit more. We're just trying to make it straight. So that looks pretty good to me. It looks lined up all the way around. You're just going to duplicate that again to the other side. And that is what the upper part of her corset is going to look like. Guys, we're halfway done. So the next part is going to be the white collar part of her dress, and it's going to look like it is longer in the back and it's barely going to be showing in the front. So for this effect, we are going to be using excuse me. We're going to be using this shape again. You're going to leave it on white because her collar is white. You're going to shrink it down as little as you possibly can. And even then, it's not going to be little enough because we barely want it showing. So we're going to go to that box button, which for me is white. And you're going to click on this circle looking earth shape and hit it. And it's going to shrink it down really, really small. And with that, we're going to turn it so that it's going to be looking like it's going to be sticking out to make that collar come out. And so I'd say like right there, or maybe a little bit over more. So once it looks something like this, we're then going to copy it onto the other side. And this is going to be where part of her collar hood in the back is going to be showing. I don't know if it's a hood or if it's a collar. I don't think any of us really know. We just know that it's this white cone shaped thing looking that sticks out of the back of her dress. Okay, so once it looks like that, we are going to now be creating the other end of it. So we're going to be taking another one of those straight lines, turning it around. And this one we don't have to shrink down because this one can just be a little thicker because it's going to get covered with part of her sleeve. So once it's like pretty lined up on her shoulder, might want to try to turn it a little bit just so. And I'm just turning it until it's lined up. Now we're going to copy it to the other side. And it's going to look like this. And that's going to create the effect that part of her collar is showing. I'm actually going to move it up a little more on this side. Maybe turn it. Okay, so it's going to look like this. And now we're going to do this on the back, but for this piece we want the white to cover all the rest of that yellow that's showing on her back. And that's just because, like I said, it looks like her hood, collar, whatever it is that protrudes from the back of her neck, it always looks larger in the back. So that is why we're going to cover, it's going to be thicker on the back. And for that we're going to be using let's try shrinking it. So again, I'm going to go into that tool. I'm going to hit shrink just to see if it'll shrink it down. Okay, yeah, so the square works better. So that is what we're going to be using for the upper part. And again, you're just going to keep it at the default white. And once it looks like this in the back on one side, again, you're just going to copy and paste that to the other side. And that is going to be the back part of the collar. So now that we have that done, we are going to move on to her sleeves. And again, her sleeves are a little lighter color than the rest of her blue top part of her dress. So for this one, we are going to be using the semi-circle shape. This one here. And again, you want it to be a tad lighter than the actual corset part of the dress. And for me, it's going to be this blue. And then you're just going to apply it to the upper part of her shoulder. So it's going to look something like this. And if you notice now, that white showing is going to be minimized, so it's not going to show as much now, and that's what we want, because you can't really see her collar from the front. And if you want it to show even less, you can always move it over slightly more, like I just did. So like right there. And then once you have that side done, you're just going to copy it over to the other side. And it's going to look like this. And then now, obviously her sleeves aren't that short. We have to make them appear longer. We're going to be using a straight line. I feel like this is our favorite shape to use, but it's just so versatile with every piece that it just fits a lot better than any other one. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Excuse me. You can always shrink it down too, again. And we just want to make sure it's covering all underneath. I'm going to move it back a little more. That looks pretty good. So once it looks like that on one side, then we're going to copy paste that onto the other side. And again, it's a little more thinner than what I would like. So I'm probably going to be adding just another piece a little slightly more down, and it's just to make her sleeves appear longer because they're a little too short right now. But let's get out and see. They actually look pretty good. I don't know why I have that piece of white there. That's really weird. Press over again because we've already come so far. Okay, so it is this piece, I'm assuming. Yeah, it is. That's so weird. I wonder why it's like that on this side but not on the other side. Makes no sense, but okay. It's still there. It's so weird because it's not like that on the other side, which makes no sense. Ugh. Yep, sometimes you'll run into glitches like this too. So you just kinda gotta fix it. See if it's gone now. It's still there. I might have to take this whole piece off. I don't understand why it's... Yeah, that shape is really weird. I guess it's glitched or something. So I'm gonna delete this one. And I'm just going to add another one. I don't know why it's messing up. But I'm gonna have to shrink this piece again, and hopefully it's not going to mess up anything that we've already done. And again, you will run into problems like this. And you just gotta figure it out. Yeah, it's still showing up, which is really weird. So weird. I don't even know how I'm gonna cover this part now. That's so strange. It's still showing a little bit on that side too. God, why is this happening? Alright, let me see if I can cover it with the... This is so weird. I'm sorry, guys. This is the first time this has ever happened when I'm making this dress. Or any dress in general. So I just had to put a line there instead of another square, which is going to work right now. It's going to fix that problem. But it's going to be using more layers than what I would like to have used. But that's okay. And I'm going to try to cover up this piece. a square here, and I'm just gonna shrink it down as small as I can get it. It's so weird because the other side didn't give us problems like that. Yeah, it's glitched. Whenever I hit the square to shrink it down, it's glitched to where it's just gonna add that weird shape off the bottom, if you guys can see it. So, looks like I can't use the square for this side and make it smaller. So, it looks like it's going to have to be using this one. So weird. I don't know why it's glitched on that side. Alright, let's just see if we can get this lined up. It's gonna have to work right there. Hopefully your guys' isn't gonna be glitched like mine is. But I just had to add that another one of those white horizontal pieces. Because like I said, for some reason it's glitched, which means I'm gonna have to cover the inside of this forearm, and hopefully we have enough fabric to do that. But this is why Touch of Magic isn't easy. It takes a lot of practice, especially when you run into glitches or problems like this. It's a lot of trial and error. But again, we're going to want to make those sleeves a little thicker. But first, she has a little bit of a yellow seam showing around her sleeves as well. So that's what we're going to be creating right now. And this is going to be the same yellow as her default bottom of the dress. So we're going to pick that yellow, which I think was this one, yeah. And then we're going to shrink it down as small as we can shrink it. And then you're going to be putting this at the base. And it's going to be the line to how far down we want our sleeves to go. I think like right there should be good. So once you have that done on that one side, again, you're just going to copy and paste that to the other side with that duplicate button. And it's going to look like this. But now we don't want that much yellow showing. So we're going to grab another one of those plain pieces of fabric. But this time it's going to be that light blue that we used for her sleeve. And in my case it was this one. Shrink it down as small as you can get it. And then we're going to lay this one right above that yellow. So only part of it is going to be showing. Like a little teensy part. So once one arm looks like this, we have to copy and paste it to the other side. But I actually want to bring it down just a little bit more because I don't want too much yellow showing. So like right there, it's perfect. And then now we're just going to paste that onto the other side. And there we have her sleeves. We have to cover the inside. If you haven't noticed, it's like showing on the inside. So again, we're just going to do the same thing we did. We're just go straight to blue. and I'm just making sure it's going to cover that. Let's see what that looks like. No, it's too wide. Just gotta move it up some. That looks pretty good. Maybe move it up a little tiny bit more because it is kind of maybe right there. So that looks pretty even. So again, we're just going to copy and paste that to the other side. And it's going to look like this. And then we also need to cover part of her blue sleeve, just to make it seem like it's all fitting together on the upper top. So let's grab one of these again, shrink it down. And we're just going to place this right at the top just so it covers that blue that's showing, and you might have to shrink it down again. So once it looks something like that on that side, we're going to copy and paste it over to the other side. This one looks a little weird, so I'm just going to the semicircle looks like. That might be better. Let's shrink it down. Yeah, let's shrink it down. So let's get rid of this one, and then let's copy paste the semicircle. Perfect. So now it looks like it's part of her collar protruding to the back. So we're almost done. We just have to make the red droplets that she has, that it looks like she has on her sleeves. And this part's pretty difficult too. And in order to do that, we want to grab that raindrop looking pattern. I'm just going to go to objects and hope that it's in there. No, let's just go to all. So it's going to be this one here. Obviously it needs to be red, and I always do the kind of deep red, the one over from the deepest red. To me that looks like the actual color that she has on her sleeves, but we need to shrink this down, it's too big. So let's do that first. Once we have it shrunk down, we're now going to start putting those on her sleeves. And the first one you want to get as close to her armpit as you can possibly get it, with it still being straight up. So like right there. And then let's copy and paste that to the other side, and then we will back out and see how it looks, because for some reason the right side of her arm always looks different from the left. So I'm just going to back out and see how it looks. It looks pretty good. Alright, so we have that first one done. And now we're going to add 2. So you can only use about 3, just because they're on the larger side. But I feel like that's enough anyways. God, and we still have that white piece there. I think my game's just glitched, so hopefully it's not going to be like that for you guys. Shrink it down. And then this one's going to go up next to the other one. And it's always a little above the hem of her sleeve. Once it looks like that, you're going to copy paste it to the other side. Like so. And then the last one. Shrink it down. And then this one's going to be right over. And this one you might have to turn a little bit just so it fits. And you might have to move the other one over too. So it's going to look like that. Copy paste it to the other side, and this one always looks weird. I don't know why, it always looks stretched out, see? And again, you'll probably have to move those pieces over, so... Alright, let's see how that looks. Alright, it looks pretty good. But yeah, I don't know why that white piece keeps showing up. I think my game is just glitched with Tom right now. Because it's obviously this white piece that we keep putting down on the upper part. But that is what it's going to look like. And then now you can either cover the blue tail sticking out with another blue piece of fabric, which I will show you how to do. Go into that blue that we've been using. Copy paste it to the other side. Yeah, so then it's going to look like this. Or you can always add like a little detail, like a little brooch or something in the back if you wanted to. Whatever you want to add in the back you can. You just want to make sure that that bare yellow part is covered. But this is the end of the dress. Again, I don't know why it's glitched to where that white part's on there. Even if I try to remove it. Is it this part? No, yeah, see, it's not that. Yeah, I don't even know where that fabric would have came from. I think it's just a glitch. Yeah, it's not showing up anywhere else. So weird. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know where that little white piece came from. Is it this one? No, we already checked that one. It's not that one. Yeah, so mine is glitched. You guys aren't going to have that white piece of fabric showing there. It's not going to be like that for you guys. I promise. But we are done with the dress. Like I said, hopefully it's not glitched for you guys and you're not going to have that white patch. Because on my other one, I don't have it there. So, really weird. But I actually like the way this one came out better because you don't want that white collar part showing in the front. and I just feel like I did a better job of hiding it on this one than I did on this one, because if you notice, it goes down a little bit too far. So this is what it's going to look like once you're done with it. And again, I promise you guys won't have that glitched piece of fabric there. I don't know why it decided to glitch out for me today, but this is what it's going to look like, and I hope this tutorial was easy for you guys to follow. But yeah, thank you guys for being here, and if you like this Tom Touch of Magic tutorial on Snow White, then definitely like and subscribe like I said, because there's going to be more in the future. But once again, thank you guys, until the next one. Bye guys.